Hi, my name's Ben Lackey. In this video, I'm going to show you how to deploy Couchbase using the Azure Marketplace. Okay, so let's get started. First off, I'm going to flip over to a web browser that I have open to the Couchbase Enterprise offer in Azure Marketplace. And this has a description of the product as well as some screenshots of it once it's deployed. There are also some helpful links down here. This one's probably my favorite. It's actually a link to more links. So various artifacts to help you get started, as well as blog posts and things on integrations we've done with Azure. Okay, so back on the Marketplace page, to deploy the product, we need to click Get It Now, and we're now presented with two options. One is a bring your own license option if you already have a Couchbase license. And a second is a silver option that includes a silver Couchbase license and support. So I'm going to select that and click Continue. It now redirects us to portal.azure.com, which is the web console for deploying things in Azure. Same description, only now we're logged in. You can see ben.lackey at Couchbase. There's a screenshot, there are the links here, and then down here it says select a deployment model. This is grayed out and Resource Manager is selected. There's an older deployment method that we don't support, as Resource Manager is the current one. I'm going to click Create, and this now redirects us to what's called a blade, where we can configure a few things for our new cluster. First off, I need to type in a username, and I'm going to use Couchbase. And this username will be both to SSH into the cluster from the command line, as well as to access the graphical user interface. Okay, now I need a password, and the password needs to have 3 out of 4 of a lowercase letter, an uppercase letter, a number, and a symbol. Next up, I need to enter in a resource group, and that's kind of a container for the virtual machines and the other assets that we'll be creating. We typically recommend using create new, as that eliminates the possibility of any name collisions. So I'm going to call this one Ben1. And then finally here, we need a location. And Azure has a bunch of different locations. I'm just going to keep West US here. And this will determine where the virtual machines and everything are created. So click OK, and now it redirects us to another blade. And this blade asks for how many nodes we want, as well as what kind. The Marketplace offer currently supports up to 30 nodes. If you want more, you can deploy from the command line. So I'm going to keep the default here, and I'm also going to look at this, and you can see a couple different options, but I'm going to keep the default here too. So click OK. And now we have sort of an overview showing our configured template, and we can download it here. Rather than downloading it, if you do want the template, my suggestion would be watch our other video on deploying with the CLI and get the template from GitHub. That way it'll be in version control, you'll always have the latest version, and it'll just be a better experience. I'm going to click OK here, and this final screen shows the terms, both Couchbase and Azure terms for the offer. So now I click Purchase, and it begins deploying. You can see deployment started at 12:05 p.m., and it says deploying Couchbase. I can click on this to monitor the status of it, and we can see the inputs here. We can see it's begun this deployment. The other thing I can do is I can click this icon for resource groups, and I can view it in here. So click on that to drill down, and it says 3 things are deploying. And we have an availability set so far, which is a container for fault domains and upgrade domains, which are what Microsoft uses, sort of analogous to availability zones on other clouds. Our network security group, which is effectively firewall rules, and we have 5 IP addresses so far. So at this point, I'm going to pause the recording while our deployment completes. Okay, so we're back. It's 12:12 now, and we just got a little message that our deployment's done and successful. So let's take a look at it. We can do a couple different things. One, we can click on here and look at the different resources. And you can see here the NICs, the public IPs are all present. This is virtual machine 0, and it has two disks. It has a data disk here and an OS disk here. And the other VMs in our cluster are similar. Note that this is using Azure's newer managed disks feature as opposed to the older disks that required storage accounts. The other thing we can do is we can click on deployments here. And we can then look around this, and one of the things, there's a node admin URL. So I can click copy, and I'm going to open a new tab and paste that in. And this is the login screen. So I'm going to enter in that username and password we provided earlier and click sign in, and don't really want to remember those. And you can see here we have 5 servers active. We can click on server nodes and view the individual servers as well as details about them. So that's it, a couple clicks and 7 minutes, I think it was, to deploy a cluster. One other thing we can do that's sort of interesting is we can go back here to the portal and pick any IP address. It really doesn't matter. And how about this one? Let's do the DNS record. Click copy here. And I'm going to go over to my terminal window. And I can SSH to Couchbase at, and then paste that in. And once again, the same password. And now I'm logged into that machine that's running. One thing I can do is if I change over to root, under var lib wagent, I think it's custom script download and then 0, this is where the startup scripts that installed and configured Couchbase actually ran. So I can cat the standard out file, and we can see that ran through, installed the software, and then rebalanced the cluster. So great. Flipping back over here to the portal, that's really it. Our cluster installed, up and running, and all configured and ready to go in just a few minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we'll be glad to help. Thanks.